We were out on a walk yesterday and we stumbled upon this beautiful wild edible fruit, this fantastic survival food known as the American Persimmon. Hey everybody, Chad Cruiser here with Health and Homestead, and if you end up liking this video, subscribe and learn about health and homesteading. When you move out into the country, one of the great things about being in the country is learning about wild edible foods. It connects you with nature in a way that, well, I really had never done before. Growing up in the city and, you know, all my life actually wanting to be in the country. And as I got older, we saved up money and finally bought land and built a house. And the first year, because of the way things were going, we weren't able to grow food. And so learning about wild edibles is just such an incredible experience. And this isn't actually around my house. I live in an area that's just simply too cold for these, but we were helping somebody out further down south and we just stumbled upon these. And the American persimmon is interesting because you have an Asian persimmon and you also have this one here. And when you look back through history, it's been known about in America at least since at least the 1600s from the settlers anyway. Obviously the natives have probably eaten it for millennia. You see, the persimmon has about 313 calories per pound, and they're extremely low in fat, roughly 2% fat, which is very, very low. They have a decent amount of vitamin C, quite a good amount of vitamin A, and also a decent amount of manganese. And they are very tasty. That's one of the nice things about them. Maybe you've tried one in the store. You have several varieties of persimmons, but there's two kind of main different kinds in the sense that one of them you can eat while it's still hard and you bite into it kind of like an apple, while the other variety, if you bit into it while it's hard, it is extremely astringent. Way to explain it is, feels like the water's getting sucked out of your mouth, almost like, I don't know, hair or something is filling your mouth like cotton. It's really a nasty experience. So these kind are the latter, where if you eat these when they look beautiful and like they look like what you would think of as ripe, it is a horrible experience. You'll have that astringent pucker and it's just it's a really terrible experience. So you want to wait with the wild kinds in general. Now, even with the wild ones, it can be a little different. Some of them can ripen earlier in early autumn, but that's unusual. The other ones are going to wait until later in the autumn. Right now we're in late November, and these ones are really just ripe now. And if you look at it, you might think, man, that doesn't look actually very good. That looks like it's too far past. But in reality, this is about perfect. They have a really nice flavor at this point. They're not very big. The wild persimmon is typically somewhere between an inch to 2 inches. You might find some bigger ones than that, but generally that's what you're going to find them at. Captain John Smith, you may remember him. He was of Jamestown, one of the early settlers, and he told us about this strange fruit. And he said, if a persimmon is not ripe, it will draw a man's mouth awry. Yeah, that's how it was spelled. With much torment. When it's ripe, it is as delicious as an apricot. And I would agree with the captain on that one. They're as good as an apricot at the right time, at the right season. They can be fantastic. And when you see them, they look small in the wild. When you compare them to a standard persimmon, you realize they really are quite small. One of the neat things about the persimmons is that they have a couple of the similar enzymes that you have in papaya, bromelain and papain, which are supposed to be good for digestion, so eating these may actually benefit your digestion. One of the things about persimmon trees is that they are dioecious. What does that mean? Well, a dioecious tree has certain trees that are male and they produce male flowers that have their pollen in them, and then you also have the female trees, and so the male trees can only produce pollen and send that over to the female tree. So if you run into male trees, you won't get any fruit. So that's the bummer there. So if you plant them from seed, you might have somewhere around 50% chance of you plant one. You don't know if it's going to be a male or a female. If it's male, you're not going to get any fruit on that particular tree. And so this is one of the things to consider. And I've heard it said that the ones in the wild are more often male than female. But right here, we just have, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all right next to each other that are female, which is good news for me anyway. I brought one of the standard persimmons along so that I could try both together and compare them. And this is the kind of persimmon that you can bite like an apple. And so I'll try the wild one first. It's very good. To me, they can taste like in the wild, similar to, I don't know if you've ever had them. My wife had never heard of them, but I grew up eating, it's not really a health food, it's kind of a junk food. It's like a popsicle in a plastic bag. Bag isn't right, a plastic container, but like a bag, and it's called Otter Pops. And it can taste like a mix between an Otter Pop, the orange Otter Pop if I remember correctly, and dates, but not just any date. Most people have never had them. When the dates grow on the tree, they're yellow on the tree, and then they just begin to turn, and they are the most scrumptious thing that humanity has ever discovered, at least in my humble opinion. They're just amazing. And so if you ever get a chance at one of the Middle Eastern stores around fall, they're past now, but around fall, maybe October, somewhere around there, they're unbelievable. But this is like a mixture of Otter Pops and just turning fresh date. Not a dry date, but these soft, squishy, like frosting on a cake, but better taste. And so this is not as good as those. Those are even better. But this has a very nice flavor. Like, it's gooey, but one of the things also is they have a bunch of seeds. You don't want to eat the seeds. They've actually found that the seeds have perforated the stomach of a horse. And I don't know whether our stomachs are any stronger than horses, but it's probably just not good to swallow the seeds anyway. But I'll take a bite out of this one. This is very good. Very, very good. Not a lot of flavor. There's a little bit of a persimmon-y flavor. I don't even know how to explain it. But this has more of that Otter Pop flavor. Most people don't probably know what an Otter Pop is, but if you do, you probably know the orange Otter Pop. It has more of the flavor of a persimmon, whereas this fantastic, but it's more simply sweet, but very good. I love them. And the ones that you have to kind of wait until they're very soft or bledded, I love those too, and those can be just absolutely amazing. But learn to get to know if you live in the southeastern part of the states. You can see they range from Kansas in the northwest, down into Texas, down into all the way through Florida, all the way up in the east. Some say as far east as, and north rather, as Long Island. So they go up quite a ways, but they're not all the way up to places like Michigan or Maine and so forth, or upstate New York. But the wild ones are tiny, so you'd have to eat a lot of them if you're trying to really survive. But right now I'm looking on these trees and there are a ton of them right around me. So learn about your persimmon, get to know them, and don't swallow the seeds. But if you find some, and man, I haven't tried it because they're not in my area, but boy, I would try drying them. It'd take some processing work to get all those seeds out of there, but I think they would be amazing dried. Maybe you've tried. If you've tried it, let us know in the comments. Give us anybody out there, you have any insight, any experience you've had picking persimmons or eating or enjoying persimmons, let us know down in the comments. And if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button. God bless and have a fantastic day.